I often listen to other great teachers like Joe Dispenza, and he speaks about new you, new life, and they talk about renewing yourself. Well, it's biblically known for 2,000 years, and the message is never changed. God is never changing. You have to understand that we're told by the renewing of your mind so you can create, let off the old self and bring in the new. This is something that is really true when you start to realize that you must change to change whatever's happening to you. Now, Joe Dispenza speaks about this where he says, the old personality can't create a new reality. So change your personality, change your reality. Well, that is spoken about in the Bible. And actually, it's so true. When you renew your mind in God, when you pray and start to learn of the truths of the divine, you start to understand that to change your life, you must change yourself. So how do you do that? How do you actually change yourself? Well, you have to understand all your old reactions and all the ways that you react to life. That is the old self in action, because it's when you go to sleep. You can't change without awareness. When you're asleep, you're going to have reactions, you're going to act from the old self, you're going to act from the old wounds. So what we really need to learn by doing all of this work is we need to learn how to change ourselves. How do we do that? You have to forgive me, I'm getting distracted here by a little sweetheart. How do we do that? Well, we've got to start to notice how we're reacting to life. You have to use your emotional reactions as a sign point for your subconscious ideas of who you still are. If you are reacting to things still, it means that you haven't changed. You'll know you're changing when you're less reactionary, and it takes great awareness. So there is a great energy that needs to be used. Now, Joe Dispenza would recommend meditating regularly to train yourself to do this. I tend to recommend noticing it in your life and day-to-day actions. I suppose like I had one today where I realised the old self was showing up. And it was where I had this issue with some accountancy issue back home. And it just made me bothered and be like, what's the point? Shall I do this? And I was like, that is a very frustrated past self who doesn't believe in his future, doesn't already exist within that future. Now, to renew your mind is to exist in a new personality, a new life. So you create the new self, and you can do this through the subconscious mind. I like to let go of all my emotional turmoil. So I use my reactions. I observe how I react to life. Then I sit with it and I start to observe it. I call it the relax, release, reintend method. And then I relax, I observe, and then I let it go by just breathing. You see, your body knows how to let go of this energy. And once you have that space, it's a great place to start to lay the seed of God's truth in the subconscious mind. You see, the subconscious mind is the divine mind. It's the part of you that is connected to God. It runs your habitual life, and it also is not the sort of Freudian subconscious mind. It is the deeper divine mind. It does run your habits, it runs your body, it can heal you because it knows all the inner workings of your body, but it can also guide you, love you, bring you to where you're meant to be in life. So once you can start to convince yourself of a new idea and change yourself and believe in that new idea as if it's yours already, so it shall be. Now, Neville Goddard would have called this the imagination, that imagination is the workshop of God. Now, it is true, but all of these techniques here are just about renewing your mind, which we were told 2,000 years ago. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Well, apparently that is an old Chaldean word, heart, for subconscious mind. When you start to look at the more Hebrew sort of ways that the Bible was written, you start to see that the words had a lot deeper meaning. Okay, what I started to understand is actually the Bible has been teaching what the modern teachers are trying to tell us all this time. And so I've been using more biblical-based references and connecting to God because it's the truth. Now, the beauty of that is that this truth is not always written as a literal fact, but as a way for you to change your life. Now, Jesus would talk about creating in your life all the time. But let's look at what renewing the mind or becoming someone new can actually mean. Well, water. In the first miracle that Jesus ever did, he turned water into wine. So what was it? Water often represents consciousness. Mary, meaning water in the sea, the consciousness. The Immaculate Conception of Mary is the universe coming into existence. When Jesus turns water into wine, it's turning consciousness into form. So we start to have to look, I need to actually become aware and use my conscious mind to start to create a new way of being. So you change yourself through conscious awareness, then starting to lay a new seed of who you wish to be as if it was you. So you start to pray, and to pray is to claim, because we're told, as you pray and believe it is already yours, so it shall be. What are you up to, little one? So as you pray and believe it to be, so it shall be. So start to claim your wealth. I'll never forget when I was there with £40 in the bank, and all I knew I needed to do was let go of the fear and start to claim God's truth over that part of my life. And it did change dramatically over the coming months and years. So you can do it in other ways. I've done it with my health when I just decided one day I could eat the food that I wanted after having digestive issues. I still have my head of hair here that I was told I was going to lose at 20, 23, 24. And it was all done by just letting go of my fear around it, but deciding with enough energy and enough conviction that it was done. So Joe Dispenza is a very beautiful teacher on this. But you can simplify it in nature. You can simplify the way to change yourself by not having to meditate for hours a day, but also just to use your life experiences. Where are you reacting in life? Where do you notice it on your body? Do you know how to detach back and let it go? Do you know how to let go and then claim something new? This is where you're going to change. Now, I promise you, you can use it for every aspect of life. Any aspect of life that I have bother and fear about, I just start to observe. I've used it to save my marriage. I've used it to create more abundance in my life. I've used it to create more health in my life. Now, I know you can have this too. So just realizing that the biblical truths have been there. So what is it that we need to do? I love it in the Bible. Now, I hope you can comment down below, but it says to let go of the old self or the old person. Now, I had this quote down today, but I'm traveling, so all of my sort of biblical quotes are out the window today. But to unsheath yourself, to give that part of you over, that's just really the concept of letting go of fear. Because the old self is the frightened self who's got all the old concepts of reality. And to change yourself is to become less reactive and more peaceful. Remember, Jesus Christ being the Prince of Peace, he is the epitome of the enlightened man. So how can we become more Christ-like in our lives? Many people come to me and they say, I just want to know Jesus. Well, to know Jesus is to know peace. To know peace is to know God. To know God is to have everything you ever wanted in life because you need nothing. Because what is God except everything? I am the Alpha and the Omega. So seriously, surrendering and becoming non-reactive emotionally is the key to renewing your mind and healing your body, creating abundance and creating the life that you've always dreamed of. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. And I just want to put out there, if any of you have been enjoying watching my videos, I have my 8-week program, which has helped so many people to heal, create and manifest. And actually, I want you to know that I have 2 spaces left in August available now. Now, they will go quick. So if you have been keen to work with me, there's a link in the description for my 8-week program. You can read about it there. You can ask any questions in the chat bot there. And if it's for you, you can book a call in with me to discuss it, or you can sign up and get that space straight away. Thanks for watching, guys.